Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending upon where you're at and when you're watching this. This is Teresa here on day 6 of this series that I intend to continue to offer as long as it is supporting you or others in this world. Good morning, Shayna. Um, I've been really bubbling with so many things on my heart to share this morning. But the first is simply to acknowledge what's going on. Good morning, Jenna. As I've checked in these past few days, good morning, Sharon. As I've been checking in, especially yesterday, the message I've been getting for myself and for you is, my friends, this is a marathon we're running. As much as we would like to have, social distancing and shelter at home for 15 days, flatten the curve and turn this around, I don't think that's being honest with ourselves. We're in a marathon, not a sprint, which makes taking time for things like this, for yourself, etc., so much more important. So, a couple of things I want to share with you about marathons, then another image that came through, and then I want to support you to practice them both right here on this video. If you've ever run a marathon, it's 26.5 miles. I've never run a marathon, I've run a half a marathon. But what happens on a marathon is there are water stations, like every half mile. Every half mile, from like the beginning all the way to the end. Now, when a marathoner starts this race, they're not thirsty at that first half mile point or even at the first mile point. They're not thirsty. And yet you'll see any seasoned marathoner will grab water from those water stations, the very first one, and drink it, and the next, and the next, and the next. They will not skip one. Now, an inexperienced marathoner, they might. And that's going to cost them, because the reason you drink water every time it's offered you in a marathon is because if you wait until you're thirsty to drink it, you're in trouble. You're not going to make it. There is no way you could, if you waited until you're thirsty, that you could drink enough water to rehydrate yourself. Just can't happen. And so what I want to speak to you all and want to share, and what I'm getting for myself, is we're in a marathon, which means that we must regularly take time to literally drink water, because that can help us to stay healthy, but to drink water that feeds us, that re-energizes us, that hydrates our spirits and our hearts in the midst of this. We'll talk about that and how you can do that in just a minute. But it's really important. Our number one job in counteracting this pandemic and all the fear that goes with it is, first of all, be smart. Stay at home, shelter at home, social distance, all of the things, wash your hands, drink water, all of those things. Be smart, of course. But it's really to continue to tend to ourselves, not just physically, but also emotionally and spiritually. And yes, even in these days, because there is an economic fallout financially. And that's really what this series is designed to help you and me do. So, with that, speaking of that, I'm just going to invite you right now to do something that can support you, that's like drinking the water that can feed your soul. I grew up in a Christian tradition, and one of my favorite images and stories is the idea of come to the water, come to the water, come to the well of divine energy and love and life force. And so I invite you to join me right here on this Saturday morning, where I'm really hunkering down in my comfortable sweater and my comfortable chair and my blanket with my cup of tea, to just, if you can, close your eyes and just take a couple of long, slow, deep breaths. Just take some long, slow, deep breaths, breathing in through your nose and exhaling out through your mouth. Such a simple but powerful act. As you do so, begin to feel your body in the chair that you're sitting in. Feel the chair supporting you on your butt, behind you, on your back. Literally, physically feel the support that's holding you right now. If you can, put your feet on the ground and feel the solidness of the earth below you, the floor below you. And as you continue to breathe in, just feel that physical sensation of being held and supported in this moment. Anchor yourself in it. In the Judeo-Christian tradition, what we're breathing in is more than just the oxygen that gives us life. It's the very spirit of the divine, of the creator of this universe. We are breathing in universal life force energy. And that energy is of the universe, the source of life that began or was there long before the Big Bang, has flowed through this world, through this planet, through human beings for centuries and centuries, is flowing through us right now, and will continue to flow through creation long after this pandemic ends, long after we're on this planet. I want you to imagine that. This same life force energy, this same source of oxygen was breathed by so many people that we've heard of historically, going back to Abraham Lincoln, or George Washington, or Columbus, who discovered America, to biblical people we know of, from Peter to Paul to Jesus to Abraham, all the way back. I want you to feel the bigness of that, the connection to that. I want you to realize that what is giving you life and what is flowing through you right now is exactly what people of centuries past have experienced and breathed. And I just want you to let that have you anchor in the fact that we are part of something bigger than what we can see right now, something bigger and more powerful than this pandemic storm and the huge disruption in life as we've known it. And despite how it may seem, given the tragedy and the pain and the sickness and all of that and the fear that's going on in this world, this life force energy, this creator, this universe is all about love. And through this pandemic, love is still at work. It's at work in the concerns we all share for people we know and love, for the vulnerable. It's at work in the concerns we have and the prayers we send to the unsung heroes who are bringing food and delivering packages that we need to shelter at home. It's at work in the healthcare professionals who are caring for people working long hours. It's at work in the love we're sending out throughout this planet. It's at work in the people who are helping their neighbors and checking in on their elderly. In the midst of all of this tragedy and suffering by some and so many really throughout the world, know that love is still at work. It's flowing to you, it's flowing through you. Anchor yourself in that something bigger. Know that you are loved and supported and being guided through this storm if you'll only open yourself to it. If you'll anchor yourself in it. If you'll come to the well, come to the water and drink. As you continue to breathe, drop into your heart. And if in your heart you feel emotions of fear or anxiety, I get it. I've been feeling them too. Just with your next breath, breathe in even more of this life force and let love caress and hold and hug those fears and concerns, like a mother will hold a scared or frightened child. One of the things that is happening is so much of this illusion of control that we've had and maintained in our life has been blown up. And we realize how little, in some respects, we have control of. That's part of the fear. We don't know what's going to happen. And trying to go down the rabbit hole of figuring that out is only going to create more fear, my friends. It doesn't mean we don't plan. There's some practical things we can do, but we do not know what will happen. All we can do is come back to this moment and ask ourselves, am I doing all that I can do right now to care for myself and those I love, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially? And am I doing all that is within my means to do to help the collective human race? Both in action, like staying at home, social distancing, etc., and in taking time to send prayers and love and appreciate your letter carrier or your delivery man, or when you venture out to the store, thank those people who are working to support us to do what we can do. That's all we can do. And then we can keep coming back to the water, to the water, to the water, to drinking the water that can anchor us into that something bigger, something way more powerful, into that love and life force energy that is at work in the midst of us. Just take a moment to be still. Maybe put your hand on your heart. It can connect you even more. And I want to share with you one more analogy and one really practical tip that will help you through this marathon that we're all running. I have a dear friend who loves the ocean. And if you've ever gone swimming in the ocean, or even a good Minnesota or Wisconsin lake, there are days when it's pretty calm. And it's really easy to float and swim and play in the water. And then there are days when it's really rough and turbulent. And you get drenched and you swallow water, and it's hard to keep your head afloat, and it's hard to swim. The surface of it, when it's turbulent, makes things more difficult and maybe for some of us even scarier. But she shared with me one day, but you know what? Whether the surface is smooth or turbulent, if you dive down far enough, 3, 4, 5 feet, the water's calm. That's what we have to do, my friends, in these turbulent times, is we got to keep diving down into something bigger than us, within us, where we can find peace and stillness and calm in the midst of all that's happening on the surface. So I'm just gonna invite you to take another minute of silence and just let that image anchor you. And at the same time, just open yourself and see if spirit or universe has a message, a reminder, an idea of an action to take. When the waters get turbulent in your mind, because you're paying attention to all the things that are happening and the stats and the numbers and things, and it's starting to scare you, drop in, drop in, drop in. And practically, here's something I've learned that I'm doing today, and I invite you to do today as well. I know about this much about neuro-linguistic programming, but one thing I've learned from that is that it recognizes that we as human beings have 4 energy quadrants. That's what they call it. One is our physical, one is our mental, one is our emotional, and one is our spiritual. And we experience health and well-being and peace and joy when the energy is flowing in all of those quadrants. That's us being at our most empowered self. But when energy gets blocked in any one of those quadrants, it creates a ripple effect and starts to block the energy from flowing in the others. Right now, there's a lot of blocked energy that's coming from the mental fear and what if and how this, that then is creating blocked energy in our bodies and can create blocked energy in our ability to connect with our spirits. So one of the things that neurolinguistic programming teaches is that if we can get energy flowing in any one of those quadrants, it will support the energy to open up and flow in the others. And the easiest one, my friends, to get moving again is physical. So when you're tense, the breathing that I've been inviting you to do gets that physical energy flowing, and I'm going to bet for all of you it's shifted things emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. I always recommend making yourself physically comfortable. Like, I've got my big favorite bulky sweater on. I've got my nice soft Afghan on my lap. I've got a warm cup of tea. The more we can make ourselves physically feel comfortable and nurtured and cared for, that can help us mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Obviously, moving, like getting outside for a walk, or if you're sheltered at home, like putting on some high energy music and dancing, taking a shower, taking a hot bath. I just invite you to pay attention to your body and continue to take simple actions to keep the energy flowing there, as it will help energy flow and open up here, and in your spirit. And it will make it easier for you to drop in deep to that place of calm. We're in a marathon, my friends. We are. So we got to keep drinking water long before we think we need it. We need to keep ourselves hydrated, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Give me some love, or give me a thumbs up, or give me a comment if spending this time here has helped you to do that. Know that I'm sending you my love. Know that I'm praying that you be safe. And I invite you to join in with me right now in closing. As you're breathing and continuing through your day, let's just collectively, with every breath, breathe in that love and that life force energy. Let it fill us, and then let's breathe it out into the world. Into the world, to the people who are afraid, to the people who are healthcare workers, to the people who are delivering food, and the truckers and all of that. Let's just take 1 minute of breathing it in, really filling ourselves. And as we exhale, imagining love and peace and life force energy going out to the world. Because this is part of what we can do, my friends. Love to you all. Tomorrow I'm taking a break from these, but I'll be back on Monday with an opportunity for you to drop into that calm, to drink some water that can feed you, and a few more practical tips to navigate through this storm. Anchored in abundance, my friends. Love you all. Bye.